Okay, so got my V4, one of them, my old one I got when I was 17, back on the table. And this one's going to get a matched set of 12AX7s. These are from Viva Tube in East Hampton, Mass. So that's just on the other side of the state from me, and they sent those pretty quick, nicely bubble wrapped, and then they did all kinds of packing paper in there too. So they arrived safe and sound. I put them in my tester and they all look great. So I'm going to strip this out of the case and do that. And this is one I modified. This switch I added, and there's a fan that I put in. There's a big box right there, and I put 2-inch blocks underneath there. One day I'll paint those black. But yep, let's pull that out. I'm going to take and replace those tubes and hit the pots with contact cleaner. I already did all the sockets on this one. And then when we're done with this, we're going to pull the other one out and put that on the table. And we'll clean all the sockets on that and then spray those pots as well. So let me get this apart and then we'll come back in. Okay, so we got the head out of the case, and I pulled out the 6 nuts that hold these plates down. I'm just going to take this out. I'm actually going to drill a hole in this plate over here where my thumb is for my modified wires to come through here. These are the wires that run my fan. I've always had them coming out the side here right around the trim, but it's a little bit sketchy, so I'm just going to put a hole there and run a grommet. And so now we'll swap out the 12XA7s here and this 12XA7 there, and then we'll put those tubes into the other amp and get both of these heads up and running. So, and then as soon as I swap these tubes out, I'll take and flip this back over and pull off the top cover and reverb tank and shoot all the pots and clean these up. The volumes were a little bit scratchy, so, and they're definitely overdue. But it should be a happy little amp in a little while. So we'll come back to it. Okay, so got my new tubes in. Hole for the fan wire drilled in there, and we'll just put these back on. Little lock nuts underneath. It's nice. It fits the bit driver, so you don't need to go getting any sockets or anything like that. Just take out the fat end of the bit on the multi-sided screwdriver there, and good to go. So we'll snug this back up, flip it over, and pull the top off. And then feed the wires through there for the fan. And we'll spray up the potentiometers. And this should be a happy amp after that. And then we'll grab the other one onto the bench and do the same thing with the pots. It should be good. Alright, now I'll turn this baby over and get the top. So I'll pull the top off, same thing, use the small end of the driver. And that will fit right on these if they're the original still. One thing I do want to say is when you're working on these, don't take this off. Leave that bar on there, screwed right into those cushiony shock absorber side mount things. That will keep your amp from flopping around and help protect your tubes. You don't want to smash your tubes, and the weight of this thing will definitely smash your tubes if it lands on it. So leave that crossbar on the back. It makes it easier to pull the head in and out of the case as well. So I'm just going to open this up and spray all those controls and feed my wire for the fan through. So there's your spring tank for the reverb. And we'll be cautious of all the capacitors in here. Okay, those should be fairly easy to get to. Yeah, maybe not. Alright, and that's the reverb amp side there. Alright, I'm gonna shut this off while I do this so I can get in there with my light, bright light, and see what I'm doing. And we'll come back. Okay, so because I'm going to be rerouting this wire and I got to get in around things, you definitely want to be having something like this to discharge your capacitors with, okay? So you can ground it to the chassis, just check them, no reading on the LED, so that's good. And you definitely want to do that working on one of these amps. There's a couple of 400 and 500 volt things in here that will definitely hold a charge for a while and knock you for a loop if you don't discharge them first. Okay, and actually it looks like, I'll pull you over here, this capacitor right there, it's hard to see. Let me see if my light's handy here. That, if you look around there, it's looking kind of weepy and wet in that area, so I'm guessing the wax might have started coming out of that. It seems to function alright. That's to quiet the noise that comes right in off the 110. So we'll get another one of those. Looks like it's a 0.47 plus or minus 2600 volts axial capacitor, so we'll get a new one of those in there, even though that's working. But yeah, you can see the wetness in there. So that's definitely a sign of a leaky capacitor. And so this one doesn't have much noise, but if there is, that would quiet down any 60 cycle hum coming through. So here's what it looks like from the top. So now I'm going to take my brown wires here. These that I guess I can't do that with the light, huh? So these wires are the wires I did for the fan with that switch. And those will be going around the transformer and right underneath the circuit board by the capacitor and out that hole that I just drilled in the plate there. So that's where we're at here. Alright, we'll come back to this beast in a minute. Okay, so I got the faceplate loosened up. There's a row of screws on the bottom side that do that. Just give me a little more room so I can get in here and give these each a squirt. Yep, and you can feel that smoothing right out. Not that these were bad, the other amp was pretty poor. Let's see if we can get in here. In there. Now this one was gummy, loosened right up. Smooth as can be. Yep, so that was a gummy one. This one's not quite as bad. A little tougher to get to though with all those wires. What is that? That's my ultra high right there. Okay, that's a good path to it right there. Okay. Now, the most important ones are the toughest to get to. It's going to be the volume inputs. There we go. And there's channel 1. And just work that back and forth a couple of times. Clean up any gunk on there. And number 2 is buried in wire. Okay, so that takes care of all the parts in this one. Okay, we'll set those This one still feels a little funky. Give that another shot. Okay. So now all these slide switches, those are the 4 switches for your sensitivity and high and low cuts and whatnot. Those are open, so we can just get in those from the side. Side 2. So these are just slide switches. They're rockers on the front, but internally they're just slides. So we'll just work those back and forth, clean up those contact surfaces. And that should do it. This should be a happy amp now. And now I'll just button it all back up and get the other one on the bench. Okay, so one done, the other one on the bench. Now I'll open this one up. I'll spray all these sockets, push the tubes in and out, and let the pins clean up the contact points and clean the pins at the same time. And then I'll shoot all the potentiometers just like I did in this one, and all the switches. This one does not have a fan, this one is stock. Yep, and that's that. And so we'll come back when I get all this apart, and I'm winded because that's heavy, and I just brought it off the speaker cap over here. That's my only complaint about these amps, too damn heavy. Okay, same deal with this one. I'm going to go in and spray all the pots. I'll grab my light so I can see what I'm doing. That's the one that don't have any knob on it. And this one was actually frozen, completely solid. I got it free with a little PB on the shaft. But I haven't had tubes in this to fire it up. I took the AX12, AX7 out of this one. And so this one was short 2 tubes. And put it in the other one. So I could use that. So we'll do the same thing, spray these all up. Get them feeling good. This one was really scratchy. And this is the one my friend Dan gave me because he just couldn't get the idea of turning it on, letting the tubes warm up, and then hitting the standby. And he would just flip the power, the standby, and the polarity all at once whenever he turned the thing on. And they don't like that. That's just you all have that happen once in a while, right? But yeah, that just surges it out and it blows the diodes. Go into the board and burns the, ooh, listen to that. Burns the fuses black. I mean, you know, once you blow a diode on the 110 side, that's a dead short. See you later. Definitely not easy to get into. Okay, that's good. So we'll put a little oil on that pivot. I think that's the pivot where it goes through the steel and not actually surface of my potentiometer. Not easy to get into. Okay, we'll push all those over to that side. Again, these are the sensitivity and the ultra high cut and boost and the frequency range, and they're just basically slide switches in there. So we'll run that back and forth and clean those contacts up a bit. That should be happy. Okay, so now before I flip this over into the tubes and sockets, we're gonna see if I can get a drop of oil on that number 2 shaft. Better if I take the cap off, huh? One, two. Oh yeah, much nicer. Maybe we'll do all of them on this amp. This one was pretty ugly when I pulled it out of my brother's garage. Keep forgetting to pull that off. Maybe we'll just leave it off till we're done. And so I'm just putting a drop on there. Let it run down the shaft. I don't want to contaminate the resistance in there, but I definitely want to get any corrosion that's on the shaft out. And I still haven't gone up my brother's to look for the knob for this, but I will. I found one guy on eBay selling knobs, $50 a piece. I don't think so. Okay, might as well do number 1 as well. Okay, very nice. Clean the dust off the tops of the switches there. So, good old workhorses. Couldn't be happier with them. Just stick that in there for now. Okay. You still looking at the bottom? Sure. Okay. So, we'll do the 2 that are out of there already. those, I'm going to use two of the XA7s, 12 AX7s, XA7s, I don't know. Two of those tubes that were blown up. 12 AX7s, okay. So, basically just spray the socket. Oh, that's tight. Push it in and out a couple of times. And they tend to get a little better after a couple of insertions, just I'm assuming as the corrosion goes away. And you got to pay attention to the pin orientation. This one and this one are 180 degrees off from each other. So my number 1 pin is facing me on this tube, facing away from me on the other tube. Okay, let's pull this one out and do the same thing. And this tends to help quiet them down if you got hissing and scratchiness going on out of nowhere. Usually this will fix it up and get good contact all the way around. Okay, and so now this one, the number 1 pin is over at that angle. And this is a 6 CG7, I believe. Yeah, I can't read that without magnification. Yeah, so that's a 6 CG7. And I actually have a couple of these hanging around. Okay, we got this other 12 AX7. And this one, the 1 pin faces towards me. Ooh, that's a tight fit. And these are insulated. Be really careful of those. The way that Ampeg made these, those are not grounded. Those metal cap bodies are live. And so they'll hold voltage for a while too, but when this thing's plugged in, those are up over 400 volts. And so I have heard stories of guitar players getting killed by them. So be aware. If those do not have the cardboard on there, go get yourself some cardboard and cover those up. And if you look at them, you'll see that the mounts are made of mica. They're not metal. So that is isolated from the chassis. Okay, and we did that one, so now we're just at the power tubes. So for these, you gotta push down on the locks. And wiggle them out. Now I had these out when I used the light bulb current limiter to bring my caps back to life. Yeah, so this one's kind of a pain in the ass with that whatchamacallit on there. What we'll do is we'll, nope, that's not gonna work either. Good clips, I'll give it that. There we go. Okay. So okay, and we'll put those right back in the same sockets. Okay, and these got the line up pin in them. And I don't like the rivets on the grippy things there, because then when your tube's in, it's got that side-to-side rock. It's not like it goes flat into the socket, like it was designed to. But I suppose keep them from vibrating loose and popping out when you're rocking out hard. Okay, and those have been in and out several times, so I'm not going to go crazy on those. But that should be it for this one. Put that back together. Alright, very good. We'll come back to it. It's a lot darker than it looked when I was setting it up. Anyways, one more thing to address is the Tolex, I guess you call it. And the face of the amp, this side here, comes through that. So I'll crazy glue that, and then take a block of wood and stick it on top of there, and then clamp it. So that's what's next. Good old Gorilla. Clean the dust off of there first. And these are always a pain in the butt. I mean, I've had more trouble with these things through the years. Messing up, I'll try and get close to the edge there. Get it down good so it doesn't pull up when we put this back together. As you can see, it's pretty hideous. And I usually just squish it back with the wood. And do I have enough room here to do this? Ooh, just barely. Nope. Back out of the way a little. Alright, and so that's that. We'll let that set up for a little while. I might run one more bead right along the leading edge of it, just to make sure. And that's it. Should be two happy Ampeg V4s now. We'll put them back together and try them out. Okay, amp's all buttoned up. So, now I'll take them and bring them back up on top of the 4x12. My little brother's got another 4x12 for me. So that means I can go stereo out of my Digitech into each one of these, which should give me 520 watts peak, which is definitely enough to practice in the house. Put the grill back on. It's supposed to be screws holding those grills on, but I never screw them on. For many years I would stand in front of it and watch the beautiful blue glow of my 7027As as I smashed out power cords on my 12 string. And then later on my Gibson. Alright. Not white. Definitely not white. Okay, take the camera off the tripod, and there they are, back on top of the 4x12. So, let me catch my breath here, drink some water, and I'll go grab a guitar and we'll test these babies out now. Okay, V4 up and running. straight into the amp, and I believe the amp is on about 1. Yeah, maybe a skosh over 1. And that's my Ibanez RG420. So, plenty of oomph there. So now we'll swap the speaker cab around and plug into the bottom one and fire that up. It should be a-okay. Okay, and we'll plug. Poor cord's not very flexible anymore. Wrapped up on that amp for 16 years. Power's off. Okay. I hear hum. Transformer's coming alive. We'll let that warm up for a bit. Pop that grill off. Make sure everybody's got their filaments burning. They should. All I did was take 2 of the 12 AX7s out of the 71, which is the top one, the one I've had since I was a kid. And I popped those into the bottom one. And it looks like we've got all the filaments going. And honestly, the power tubes look like they need to be rebiased, to be honest. One definitely looks like it's a bit harder than the others. But okay. Let's have a look-see. See if she's happy. Okay, there's one. Okay, let's try the reverb. It works. Definitely not as bright as the top one. Oh, that's why. Treble's down. There it is. So I was concerned about that reverb on the bottom one because that was just frozen solid. But, cool. looks like it's hot plating, so I'm not going to mess around with that too much more until I bias all the tubes and stuff. So the bottom one still needs a little attention, although it lives after 16 winters and summers in the attic. So incredible heat and cold. But yeah, good enough. Alright, 2 V4s alive and fairly well. Like I said, one of them looks like it's hot plating on the bottom there. So we'll check all those resistors, see how the bias is. Alright, time to eat some food.